Hi there, I'm Brian from the Lincolnwood Library, here today to talk to you about Google Android. If you aren't using an iPhone or an iPad for your smartphone or tablet, you're probably using something with Google Android on it. We'll go over what Android is, the basics of using it, and common questions about it in this video. We'll keep this practical and mostly non-technical, and this will be good for you as long as you know just a little bit about technology. Let's get started. Google Android is an operating system that's optimized for mobile phones and tablets. It's an open source project. Google runs and maintains the project, but anyone can contribute to improve it. And anyone can use Android in their products. Google discourages others heavily modifying Android, but a lot of companies have done that, including Amazon with their Amazon Fire operating system. So Android is one of the most commonly used systems in the world because it is really flexible, and to start, it is available for free. Google's version of Android is the main one, and the one we'll talk about today. It comes tied to many of Google service applications like Gmail and Google Photos and YouTube and Google Maps and Chrome. The most recent version of Google's Android is 11, but since there are a lot of versions of Android and a lot of hardware that Android is on, there are a lot of older versions that are still really widely used, including the very old version that we will be demoing on a tablet today. Let's talk about Android device hardware briefly. So Android devices, since there are just so many of them, are not as likely as some others to receive updates. This is a chart of Android devices from pretty recently and what system they are on. And only about a third are on one of the most recent system updates, which is a shame. So you'll want to bear that in mind in Android devices. Now, these devices themselves, whether phones or tablets, are mostly large batteries. This is the battery of the device that we are demoing from, and you see it takes up most of the device. And this is the front of the device. These devices are mainly large touchscreens. So you see this space here is the touchscreen. And these devices have one of either two types of chargers. This is a USB Type-C charger that can go either way. And here is one of those cables that you can purchase. Again, it flips either way on the business end. That's USB Type-C. The other main type of charger is micro USB. Here's the plug on a device and the charger. And here is a standalone cable you could purchase. Again, the business end, but this time when you look at this carefully, it is not reversible. It only goes in one way, so you have to pay attention to that in your device. These devices have cameras. This is a newer device which has multiple cameras that face away from the touchscreen. You may also be able to get fancy styluses too for writing on the touchscreen. And here is the device we are demoing from again, and facing towards you there is a camera as well. Many of these devices also have fingerprint readers for enhanced security. They're usually on the back. Some, though, are embedded into the front touchscreens too. And this is a really recent device, which has on its side very standard volume up and volume down buttons, and the power switch for turning the device on and off. Many Android devices have the very standard circular headphone plug, but some have decided over the years to ditch that and just kind of force you to go with a wireless headphone set. Now, the other buttons that are on the front, usually there is a fixed hardware home button that always takes you back to your main screen. Usually it's in the middle, to the left, or to the right of that. There are often some other buttons as well. Usually there is some form of back button. Again, a button to take you home, and a button to show you all of the applications that you have open. So that is just a little bit about the hardware on Android devices. You press and hold the side, power, or sleep and wake switch to turn on your device. Once it has turned on, it usually takes you to a lock screen. The lock screen is what you see as your device is on, you've woken it up, but before you get to the main interface. Most people recommend having some form of security enabled for the lock screen to make sure it's only you or people you trust getting into your device. Security measures on the lock screen include a passcode that is usually 4 to 6 digits, a full password of any length with letters and numbers and symbols, face identification using super advanced cameras or even retina eye security, fingerprint identification using fingerprint readers that some devices have, swipe patterns, which usually have a grid of 9 dots onto which you draw some form of pattern. Or you can disable this altogether. So let's show just a little bit of how these work. So here's a lock screen. Sometimes they show you notifications, and they may also have options for getting to things quickly, like search or taking a picture. They usually show the time and the day and some of the modes that you have enabled, like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and your battery. The lock icon tells you that you have security enabled. Here is what it looks like to set up the draw pattern unlock security in your setting. And here is what it would look like on your lock screen. You just draw a pattern, and if it's wrong, it tells you. If you have a PIN enabled, this is what it looks like to wake it up. You enter in that PIN, and then you might press the check button to enter your device. You could type in the full password. It will use the keyboard. And then as soon as you've got that, you press the check mark button to enter. It's what it looks like as you're entering it. And again, you press that check. Now, you may also have facial identification with advanced cameras. You have to set this up in settings, and you basically have to point the camera that is in the front of your device at your face, and then if it recognizes you, it will enter into your device. If it doesn't recognize you or there's an error, usually you also have to enable another of these security options, like a PIN, for it to fall back to. Your home screen is what you see when you've gotten past your lock screen. You may only be able to use it vertically, or you might be able to use it horizontally, like I am now. You may only have one home screen, or, like me, there may be two home screens or more, and you may have indicators as to how many home screens you have somewhere on your screen, usually toward the bottom. There may be a dock of applications, like I have on the right, applications that you tend to use frequently and are visible on each home screen. You can add widgets to your home screen, usually, like I have this widget for determining what song is playing from what the microphone hears. And you can press and hold to see options for widgets, sometimes also for wallpapers and settings. And it shows you in this view, in my case, my multiple home screens. I'll press to dismiss that. You can, of course, see all of the applications on your device. I have just a few. I've got the Google Play Store and Chrome, Lincolnwood library services like our ebooks, Overdrive and Libby and Hoopla, and the Lincolnwood Library app. And I've got even more, including games, in my dock. And I've got Chrome, which allows me to go to the web. Your bottom bar buttons, back, home, and multitasking may change. They may change to things like dismissing the keyboard and the keyboard, but for now I'll just press home to go back to my main home screen. Just a couple more things to show you about your home screen. In the upper left corner, you often can see notifications related to things that have been happening on your device. I can swipe down to see notifications and swipe down further to see different quick settings that I can change. I'll swipe up and then swipe up even more to get out of that. In the upper right corner, I can see indicators about those quick settings and the time. So again, that is the home screen. It opens up after you have gotten past your lock screen. So let's show you how to open an app on your Google Android device. Already kind of showed this, but just to review again. So I will use Google Chrome from my home screen, and you see there are actually multiple shortcuts to it here. I can use either from this folder or from the main screen. So I'll just press from the main screen here, and it opens up, and I can use the app to browse the library website, do whatever I would like to do. Now on my device, to exit an app, I can press my circle button in the middle at the bottom. On newer devices, this may require a gesture like swiping up from the bottom. If an application on your Android tablet is malfunctioning, if you need to close it and restart it without uninstalling it, you can do that. And this is usually accessed through the third button at the bottom of your screen. Sometimes it is a square, like on my device. Other times it is kind of multiple lines, looking like a list. When you press that button, it shows you an overview of all of the applications that you have open. And there are a couple different ways that you can quit out of these apps to effectively restart them, so that if something's going wrong, you can reopen and try again. You can swipe them to the side, or to the other side, or press the X button to get out of those apps. You can also use this menu to quickly switch to a different app. I can scroll through and say, for example, I want to go to Google Chrome. I press that, and it opens up. So again, you press that third button to see your open apps, and then you can press the X to close out of an app. Android devices often come with a lot of apps that you might not actually want to use, and they might take up space on your device that you might want for something else. Or you just might want to change your mind and something you've uninstalled you don't need anymore. For the vast majority of apps that you can have on an Android device, you can uninstall them. And usually it is done like this. So maybe I like Overdrive instead of Libby for reading Lincolnwood Library ebooks. So I want to get rid of Libby. I press and hold on it, and options appear at the top. If I want to simply remove the shortcut to it and keep it in my list of all applications, I would drag it to remove, or if I want to uninstall it, I can drag it to uninstall. Then it asks me basically, am I sure? And I am. So I pressed OK, and it thinks for a second and installs the application. Now, you could always go to the Google Play Store and reinstall it if you change your mind. But that is how you uninstall an app. You press and hold on it until you see options and drag it up to that uninstall option and release. Let's next go over the keyboard in Google Android. The keyboard is on the touchscreen, a touch keyboard. It only appears when you need it. So right now, I'm not doing any typing. It is not there. I can open up a simple Notes application. And I was in a note, so it pulled up the keyboard. I'll go back out, and you see the keyboard disappeared. So I can press this plus button to start a new note, and the keyboard immediately appears. So I can type all the different letters. It automatically capitalizes the first letter of a line. And I'll do a period. And after periods, it capitalizes the next letter too. Hitting the spacebar twice will automatically insert a period and a space. So you can simply cover up whatever key you need to type your letters. And above the keyboard, there are suggestions of kind of quick words that you can use to speed up your typing. If you make a mistake, you can use those suggestions or the backspace button to remove text. You can move down a line with the return button. I'll type a little bit. You can use a comma right next to the space bar here. And you can manually capitalize by pressing the up arrow. You can double press that to do uppercase, continuing more than one letter. Now, beneath that, you have the question mark 1, 2, 3 button, which brings you to numbers. So you can type all your numbers in case you need to, and there's all sorts of symbols in here as well. You can press the equals/ button to go to even more symbols to type formulas and all sorts of other things. and press ABC to go back, and the number to pull up a special number keyboard. Now your keyboard may be a little bit different than this. There are different keyboards on Android, but it will likely work similarly. You can press and hold letters to get different options like the numbers, or if I'm typing in lowercase here, I can press and hold for extra characters as well. They're really helpful. You can also see emoji in the keyboard. There's the smiley face button here for all sorts of different kind of smiley faces that you can put in your messages. There are all sorts of different sections across the top for different types of emoji, and you can scroll this left and right to see even more. This may be a little bit different on other devices. At the bottom, I have even more beyond emojis. I can press the ABC button, of course, to get back. Now, if you ever need to dismiss the keyboard, it came up in error, you can press, usually there's a down arrow button to get rid of the keyboard. But, you might need to bring the keyboard back up again. Just press anywhere that you might expect should accept text to bring up the keyboard. There's also the keyboard button in the lower right corner to choose which keyboard. You can have multiple keyboards installed, and you can choose between them. So maybe I'll switch to Google Voice Typing, and I can use this to use my voice to type. Most Google Android keyboards will have some sort of voice-to-text feature, which you may have to set up in your settings. Press that back button to go back to the main keyboard. So your keyboard can change depending on what you are doing. I'll exit out and go to Google Chrome. When I'm typing a search, instead of the return down a line button, I have a search button here, the right arrow. So the keys on your keyboard can change depending on what you are doing on your device, which is really helpful. So I can do that search, and the keyboard disappeared because it knew that I didn't need it. So I can press into this search box, and again the keyboard comes up because it knows that I might need it. Now, you may need to edit text, and you can move where text is going to type. I've got this blinking line and the little teardrop beneath it. I can drag that to change where my text is going to go. So maybe I want to know the weather today. So I can search that, and there we go. So the keyboard is really powerful. There's a lot you can do with it. You can do all your uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, symbols, punctuation, even emoji, and advanced features like voice to text. The keyboard also works in the portrait orientation rather than the landscape orientation I used before. The buttons are just a different size, so you can use whatever you're comfortable with. And again, to dismiss the keyboard at any time, usually there's some form of down button to get rid of it. Android devices are great for browsing the internet. They typically come with Google Chrome web browser pre-installed, but in the Google Play Store, you can find alternate web browsers. For example, I'll search for Firefox by Mozilla, and there we go. I can press install and use that. While we're waiting for that, I'll show you Google Chrome. So Google Chrome is the standard web browser. It has a lot of great features and synchronizes with your Google account. So you can type searches like weather in Chicago in this top bar and press that arrow enter button to enter that, and you can see results. Scroll up and down. If you want to view something from a search result, you just press it and it pulls that up. It'll load. You see that spinning circle in the upper left corner. That tells you the page is loading. So you can scroll up and down, see the information on the web page. Now you can, if you want to return to something, you can use your back button to go back to your search results, and you can use forward to go forward to that page from before. If something is causing you problems and it is not working, you want to try to get it to load, press this little refresh button, and if something is being slow, you can press the X to stop it. You can press the home button to go to your home page. If there is a page that you really like, after it loads, you can press the star button to add it to your bookmarks. This is a good case to hit the stop and try reloading. This page is being slow. There's a lot of multimedia on it. While I'm waiting for that, you can have multiple pages open at one time. I've got this tab in the upper left for the current page. I can press the plus button to have another tab. And rather than searching, I want to show you entering in an address. So maybe I'd like to look for an audiobook from the library. Our audiobooks are available at dlil.overdrive.com. And you see this is a great case when the keyboard changes. It knows that I am typing in a web address or search, so it puts that .com button there. And I can really quickly type all of that to get to the Digital Library of Illinois. So you can use that top search and address bar both for typing in exact addresses and for doing your searches. And you can have multiple tabs open. I can press on that first tab to see what's going on ESPN today. Or I can switch back to the Digital Library of Illinois. Now you can have lots of tabs open. For example, I can go to the library homepage, Lincolnwood Library. If I hold this .com, it gives me other options, including .org, and I'll press go. And here we go. It loaded the library's page. The three dot button here, you can see more options. You can see your history and downloads, recent pages. If you want to add a web page to your home screen, you can do that really easily. I like that name, add, and it has been added to my home screen. So I can press that, and there it is. And I've also now got the Firefox icon. Go back to Chrome. See those options again. I am in a normal tab. You can use what's called an incognito tab. If you are concerned, maybe you're shopping and you don't want someone else to see what you're shopping for, you can use incognito mode to make sure that your browsing history isn't saved so that other people can't see what you're doing. This isn't a perfect way to be private online. The websites you go to can still collect some information about you, but it is good to minimize what you have going on. And you can press that incognito icon to switch back to normal tabs. Just like any application in Android, when you're done browsing, you can press your exit button to get out. So the web browser by default is usually Google Chrome. There are options to install other web browsers like Firefox, and there are many more. Depending on what you like, you might like a different one better. All of the web browsers use your data connection to pull up the web pages. You may be on Wi-Fi, especially if you're on a tablet, or you could be on a cell phone network if you are on a phone. So you want to be careful with your data, because web browsing allows you to pull things up really quickly, which is great, but you could go through a lot of data, especially pictures, have a lot of information. So you can go to just about any website, you just type it in, and the web browser will pull it up for you. So that's how you can browse the web on Android. Android devices have lots of ability to customize, and we'll talk about just some of the basics. First, you can move your apps around by just simply dragging them. I can drag and drop. And I can move an app to a different screen by dragging and dropping it, and then kind of pushing a little further and releasing. I'll drag that app back the same way. And release. I can move apps in and out of folders by pressing on the folder and dragging it away. And you see that folder reorganizes itself. I just press on a folder to see it, and I can press on its name to customize it. Instead of library apps, which these apps are, I can call them reading. I just type that in and press away, and press away to exit out of the folder. Press and hold on that and drag it on top of the folder to add it back in. I can change the order of the apps in the folder by dragging the app around. From my library of all apps, I can press and hold on an app and drop it to add a shortcut to an app. And you see, of course, you can have multiple shortcuts to one app. I have two shortcuts, for example, to Chrome in the folder and on my first home screen. I can put apps into my dock by dragging them and dropping them on that dock on my device on the right side. And that dock is present on all home screens, which is really helpful. You can, of course, remove things from the dock just by dragging them, and you can also remove folders from the dock. And you can reorganize the dock and reorganize it again. There's also the ability to change the desktop wallpaper. I can press and hold and press on wallpapers, and I see different options that I can choose from. And there are live wallpapers as well, but I'll press back and choose, I like this one. And I'll press set wallpaper to set that. I can press and hold on any part of the home screen to bring up the ability to add widgets. Widgets are little versions of applications that can be pressed to go to the full version, or you can kind of see live information on the fly on your home screen. So I'll press that widget icon, and I can scroll through, and maybe I want to put a clock. So I press and hold on that and drag it onto my home screen. And I see it's displaying the current time. I can press and hold on that and release, and I can change its size, and I can make it bigger, or I can make it smaller. Press away, and again I can press and hold if I want to remove a widget and drag it out. And there sometimes are widgets placed on your device by default. I can press and hold and drag it and drop it. Your apps can have multiple widgets of different sizes, and I can scroll through and see all my options. When I install a new app, it may add more to this menu. I just want to add back this What's This Song widget and place it right there. On my second screen here, I can take a couple apps and create a folder. I'll take this file manager and drag it on top of this app to create a folder. I press on it, and I can give the folder a name and press my check mark on my keyboard to save that. And again, I can organize the order of that to show which app will be the first in that folder. So that is a brief overview of how you can customize your Android devices. There is a ton more you can do, including in your settings application. Let's talk about settings next on your Google Android device. Settings is usually accessed by some sort of kind of gray gear icon. It may be in your list of all apps somewhere, or it may be on one of your home screens. You press that and open it up. There are different sections for different types of settings. There are often menus within menus within menus. This device really does not have very many settings menus. There are many Android devices that have a lot more. There are often groupings of menus. For example, I just have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but often similar settings are grouped. For example, those are often grouped in connections. So if you want to enter a particular setting, you just press on it anywhere. And if you change your mind, you can go back. You can access a different one. And you can also use the Global System Back button to exit out of a settings menu as well. Let's take a look at Wi-Fi. This is a really important one. You can connect to Wi-Fi internet networks at libraries or coffee shops or a friend's house. Networks with padlocks have a password required, and you press on it, and it will pull up the ability to type in a password, and you would just press connect, and it would connect to that Wi-Fi network. You see I'm connected to the library's Wi-Fi network. These menus also show the strength of the network, so you can know if you're expecting fast or slow internet. And you can press on a network to see more information about it. Networks without passwords don't have the padlock. You can turn off or on your Wi-Fi at usually the top, and mine is on. I press it and it turns off. There are a lot of switches like this in settings where kind of to the left means off and to the right means on, and it often turns green as well. So we're searching for Wi-Fi networks and it is connected. There are just tons of these menus you'll really have to explore. I want to show you just a couple more. There's often menus related to your battery. You can see what parts of the system are using your power and your level of charge. You can see information related to your display, including how long it stays on without you doing anything. I have it for a really long time, but most people do it for shorter amounts, 30 seconds or a minute. And you just press one of these little circles to select an option. Press back. Let's take a look at apps. You can see all of the applications on your device. If you need to free up space, you can find an app that has a lot of space, and you can press on it to see information. If you do not like the other method we showed you to uninstall an app, you can uninstall from here. And I'll press OK, and it uninstalled that app and saved me some space. Now, I mentioned this Android device does not have a ton of settings, and even with the small amount of settings, I often forget where certain settings are within menus. There is the search at the top, and I can type in something that I'm looking for, and press my search magnifying glass, and it pulls up different options in settings, specific menus that I can press through to. And I like to show this menu if you ever have any problems with your device getting hacked or having problems. You can do a factory data reset to start it back from square one. But I'll just hit back to get out of that. So there are a ton of menus you really have to explore to customize your device even further. There are often menus that have menus within them, and you can select options, or you may have to drag things to set levels. And you can customize things like automatic brightness or manual brightness. You have all the settings you need. So that is your settings on your Android device. Next, I want to talk about accounts on your Google Android device. We've talked about how Android is tied heavily to Google. So a lot of times you are forced to either sign into or create a Google account when you set up your Android device. And the number one problem I've run into with people using Android devices is they have some sort of problem with their Google account. They're not signed in properly, the password has changed elsewhere, and it's not properly set up on the device. Something's going wrong. you can take a look into that in your settings usually. This varies a bit, but there are often menus like Google or accounts where you can investigate further. So I can look at my accounts, or I can add a new account, and different applications that are installed onto your device can put their ability to add your account into these menus. But I'll press back and take a look at my Google account so I can see what is being synchronized, how I'm signed in, and if I need to remove the account, I can do that and start over. So that's the accounts menu, and these menus vary based on what applications you have installed and your particular device. You can also use, if there is a Google menu present, you can see more information about your account, including manage your Google account, which is a great place to go if you're having trouble with your password. So again, you go into settings and look for either Google or accounts, and you can work through problems from there. Let's next talk about notifications on your Android device. Notifications are little alerts that appear when something that the system or an application installed on your device thinks that something interesting that you want to know has happened. They usually appear in the upper left corner of your device, and they have a little picture of the relevant app. And to access them, you usually have to swipe down from either just the top or the upper left corner of your device. So I swipe down from that corner, and I can see my notifications. If you press on a notification, it will take you to the relevant app that generated it. And if you want to get rid of a notification, you can just drag it to the side to get rid of it. You can swipe through notifications. They often have pictures and brief information about the relevant content in the application that created it. There's often the ability to clear out all notifications by pressing, usually there's a button at the bottom that allows you to clear out all of your notifications. Now in your settings menu, there is often a menu for notifications. On my device, it's within sound and notification. And you can customize settings related to your notifications. I can see app notifications and see their settings. You can block notifications from a particular application if you don't want them, or you can enable other settings and options. And you'll just want to scroll through your list of all your apps occasionally and customize them to fit your needs. If something is sending you too many notifications, you can disable it in this menu. So that is your notifications. Again, you swipe down from your corner, and right now I don't have any, but they would be displayed here for you to press to go to the relevant application. Rather than using the full settings menu, there is a quick settings menu that is available on most Android devices. I'll exit out of my settings to show you that. you access the quick settings menu from basically the same area as your notifications. You often have to swipe down from the top or the upper left, and then it shows you your notifications, and you may have to swipe down again to display your quick settings. So the controls vary based on your device, what hardware is on it. If you have different things like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you may have to press and hold on options to see additional options, and there may be menus within menus that you press to. You would use your back button to go through them. The coloring of these options usually tells you if things are on and off. So on my device here, airplane mode is darker and that is off. And I could turn off my Wi-Fi by pressing it. So it's a really quick setting that you can usually change just by tapping things. You may be able to, again, see the more options. I'll just press done to go back. And now my Wi-Fi is connected. Usually you can adjust your brightness as well. Bluetooth, if you have near-field communications. Airplane mode, your ability to lock your device in a certain orientation, and more. To get out of this menu, you just either press to the side or swipe up, and it is usually available at any time while you are using your device. So check that out by swiping, and swipe again usually to find your quick settings. And if the setting you need isn't in this menu, there is usually a link to the full settings in this section of quick settings. Let's next talk about the Google Play Store on your Android device. Like Apple's iOS App Store, the Google Play Store is how you can add more things to your device. Its icon is usually a multicolored blue, red, green, and yellow triangle of some sort. You see here I have two different shortcuts to it on my device. It may be in a Google folder or in a listing of all apps on your device. So I'll press the Play Store to open it up. Google allows alternate application stores to be installed on devices and managed by other providers, such as Samsung. So here we go. We are in the Google Play Store. It is a pretty standard digital storefront. You can scroll up and down through. There is search at the top. There are different sections at the bottom. I am in apps right now, highlighted in green. I can go to games, movies, and TV. This store sells media along with applications. So movies and TV and books. So you can navigate through the different sections at the bottom: games, apps, movies and TV, and books. But I'll go to apps. If, for example, I want to look at this recommendation, Spotify, here, you can see the title of the app and if it has been reviewed, how many times it's been downloaded, its rating. You can see screenshots of the application, so you can see what it will look like and get an idea how it will work. You can see more about the app and drill down into the ratings and see similar applications and more by the same company. So if I scroll up to the app, I can press install. Now, depending on your device, there may be security required to verify the installation. It might be a password or a touch ID or a face ID, a fingerprint to install the app. Now, you see it's spinning around here, the progress, about 40-50% done of that 27 megabytes. And after this circular progress bar spins around, it will also have to finish installing after this is it downloading. You see also verified by Google Play Protect, and now it is installing. Unlike Apple's iOS store, the Google Android App Store has, over the course of years, had some problems with nefarious applications. They added verification by their Play Protect program to try to increase security. But you do hear every once in a while that a group of apps were found to be doing bad things and Google removes them. You want to try to stick to apps from big names or applications that are very kind of straightforward and you can verify their publisher. So this is installing. While it was downloading, I could have hit cancel. And after it finishes installing, the open button will take me right directly into the application. So there we go. The application has fully installed. Now you see there is the uninstall button right there. So this is a third way to uninstall apps as well. If you picked something wrong and want to change your mind, you can do that from the Play Store listing as well. You can hit open to directly go to that application. I'll press back for now. Let's do the search. Earlier, I showed you me deleting the Facebook app. So I'll search for that. If you uninstall something and change your mind, you can install something right back. So I pulled up Facebook here and I can press install. Now you don't even have to go into the full listing for an application to install it. I just installed it right here from the search. You can scroll up and down and see other apps that may be related. The speed of the download will depend on your data connection, whether over Wi-Fi or over some sort of cell phone cellular connection. I could still hit cancel here, even though it is almost done, 97% done. So just like Spotify, Facebook now is installing. While it is installing, I could start a search for something else, maybe say the Lincolnwood library, the libraries app. I'll search for that. So here it is. Now I have that installed already. The App Store is smart and is able to detect that. So if I had so many apps that I kind of forgot which apps I had, the App Store won't let you accidentally install something twice and cause problems. It will just show you that you could open that app up. So I'll go back and pull up Facebook, and you see now that has been installed. Now beyond the sections at the bottom of the app, there are different sections kind of in the middle of the screen. I've got For You right now. I can go to the top charts and see different apps. These are the top free apps, although a lot of these apps may require payments within the application. I could switch to the top grossing apps, which are apps that allow you to purchase things within them but start off free. Or I could switch to the top paid applications. I can scroll through here. These are mostly games. And if any of these are of interest to you, you could press through. So instead of just install, if an application requires payment, the button changes to the cost. And Google would have you register your credit card, and that is how you would pay for the app. You can also buy from stores Google Play credit on gift cards and register that in the store. So I'll press back and scroll up to the top. There are all sorts of different sections that you can navigate through, different apps, including Editor's Choice, where they have highlighted apps that they think are really good. These are basically kind of little mini news articles, but focusing on applications. And you see the apps, and you can click through and potentially install them. You see this Editor's Choice badge. So I'll press back and get back to that main screen. In the upper right corner, I have my profile picture. You may have just an abbreviation of your account. You can manage your apps and device. You can see all of your apps and updates. You can also see information about Google Play Protect and your payments. But let's take a look at Manage Apps and Device. You can see Google Play Protect scanned my device, so you'll see that everything is good there. And you can see your storage, and you can apparently share applications, which is great. But what I'm here for to show you is updates, so you can see the details of updates. Updates may install automatically, or you may set them to install manually where you do it yourself. That can be changed in settings, but you can always see your updates by navigating here. So maybe if there was a specific application that I really wanted to update, for example, the library's ebook app, Libby, I could manually press update, and I will have that update next. So it's installing Google Maps right now. It will do Libby next. So you see it is doing that update. You could press the X to cancel out of one of these updates, and you can press the arrows to show or hide more information about the update of a specific app. So I'll just press back to get out of this, and back one more time, and now I am on the main screen. So let's just show you a little bit about games. You see there are a whole bunch more sections here at the top, and sometimes there are more sections than may fit on your screen, especially if you do the tall orientation instead of the wide orientation like me. You can scroll through all sorts of different games. Games tend to be the most popular applications. And just like before, there are Editor's Choice games. So you can see all sorts of different games that may be fun for you. Now, while those automatic updates are going on, I will press my button to exit to my main screen. And it scrolls me over to the home screen where my 2 apps that I installed were placed. So I've got Facebook now and Spotify. So that's how you use the Play Store to add more applications to your device. Next, I want to talk about how you can share content from your Android device. So I'm on the library's policies page, and there are all of our full policies here under library policies. So a lot of times on Android devices, you're working with legal documents and forms and all sorts of things you have to fill out. And as soon as you have a piece of content on your device, whether displayed or saved, you can share it to other people and other apps. So I will just pull up our general policies and open that in a new tab, and it downloaded to the device. I see a notification of that. I can swipe down and go to that download. So this file has been saved to my device, and I can read through it at my leisure. But after I've read through it, I may want to send it somewhere else. Usually there is a share button, or I've got a 3 dots button here, and send file. And this brings up options for using other apps and methods of transfer to basically send this content somewhere else. So I will use my Gmail, and it just wires up with my Gmail. And I can say who the email is to. You can change the subject and compose your email. And send the message. Now I've pulled up some pictures on my device using a Photos app, and I can pull up this photo that my wife took recently when she went to the zoo, and you see that there is the more standard share button here. So I can press that to see sharing options, including custom options from the app, Google Photos, but I can also see share to apps. And I'll press more on that, and you can see all sorts of different options to share to other applications. Depending on the apps you have installed and the particular hardware on your device, you may have different options here. But again, I'm going to pick Gmail. And this time, maybe say I want to print off this picture. And we can do printing here at the Lincolnwood Library remotely via emailing into our print system. So all you have to do is something like this: attach the content to the email and send to either Lincolnwood, BW at print printspots.com for a black and white print job, or Lincolnwood color at printspots.com for a color print job. And it's 15 cents per page black and white, 55 cents per page color. So I'll give this a subject. And just a very brief body of the message to make sure that this message is not rejected by spam filters. And hit send. So that's how you can use the share buttons and send file options to help you move things around that you have accessed on your Android device. You can put it to sleep using the sleep-wake switch to save battery life, and then quickly wake it up by pressing that same switch. But if you do want to turn off your device at the end of the day, or if you know you are not going to be using it for a while, you press and hold that same sleep-wake switch until the device gives you options. So you press and hold that, and you see power off. And if I did actually want to turn the device off, I would press that, but I don't. So if you change your mind, you can press away from that to cancel powering off your device. That's how you turn off your Android device. So thanks for watching this class on Google Android today. We went through what Android is and the basics of using it, from opening up apps and exiting out of them, to moving things around and customizing your home screen, to seeing your notifications and quick settings, and the Google Play Store, and more. On Android, with the Google Play Store, you can download the Lincolnwood Library app and our other apps like Overdrive, Hoopla, Libby, Canopy for media, Mango Languages for learning a new language, and more. You can go to our website, lincolnwoodlibrary.org, to see everything we've got for you, or reach out to us at 847-677-5277. And Lincolnwood, Illinois residents with their library cards can reach out, and we can even do one-on-one technology lessons for you. So again, Google Android is what you're probably using if you don't have an iPad or an iPhone, and it's a great system for getting things done. We hope you learned a lot in this class today.